Good evening. Good evening. There you are. I knew you were there somewhere. Welcome to another AVB Community Band concert. This is our 44th year, believe it or not. 44 years. That's been a long time coming. We herald our we always like to herald our founder, Bob Searing. Some of you probably knew Bob. I took over for Bob, believe it or not, 24 years ago. Crazy. But this is a community band, as you can tell. I'd like you to check out our website. We have got a great website, a lot of good stuff there. AVB, all volunteer band. Everybody here is a volunteer. And this year's theme, Come Together. How many of you came tonight and brought a friend with you? Not your husband, that doesn't count. Come on. But we say come together not only so you come together with somebody, but come together with music that inspires and music that unites us. You know, it doesn't matter who you are, where you stand on the aisle, what country you're from, music is the thing that unites us all. So that's the theme for tonight. You're going to hear a lot of legacy and tradition tonight. I decided to go kind of around the world. You're going to hear music from the British Isles tonight, Spain, the Czech Republic, Russia and Ireland, and of course the good old US of A. So, without any further ado, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you, sir. And of course, this is also our annual Salute to the Services concert, as we come together to thank those who defended our freedom. And thanks to our longtime sponsor, Hanson Funeral and Cremation Services, for also following us out to Howard. Thank you. And a special thanks to American Legion Post 11 for posting and retiring the colors. Since its chartering in 1919, the Post has been welcoming veterans from all branches of the armed forces, and its members are busy with many charitable and community events, including posting the colors at home Packer games. In fact, back in the Packers' early days, Legion members were ticket takers, worked the stands, and sold stock. And you know what? Up until 1997, guess who got the money if the Packers folded? That's right, American Legion Post 11. Now it's the Packers Foundation. And it's great to be back here at Bayport. How about that Pirate football team? Off the Madison to the Federal State Finals. Pretty cool. One more thing, as a courtesy to others, please turn off your cell phone or put it on silent. You can do without connectivity with your grandkids until intermission. If your cell phone does go off, you will be required to come up on stage and play bassoon. Our first number was Summon the Heroes, which John Williams wrote for the 1996 Olympic Games, marking the 100th anniversary of the modern Olympic Games. It's dedicated to Boston Pop principal trumpet at the time, Tim Morrison. Next, we're going to do one of my all-time favorites, So Get Comfortable. We have a little lecture here. Victory at Sea. I think Dave Feldorf and I were juniors or seniors in high school when we first played this, so it truly is a classic. Victory at Sea was... That didn't come out quite well. Victory at Sea was written for a 13-hour, 26-episode NBC series by the same name that first aired in 1953 and 54. I vividly remember my parents and I zooming out of church sometime in the early 60s to get home for the reruns, which I think were at 12:30, and I do believe Dick Rogers' polka show came right after. Richard Rogers of Rogers and Hammerstein fame prepared about a dozen themes, several of which you will hear tonight, which were arranged and greatly expanded upon by Robert Russell Bennett. Bennett orchestrated the original scores for many Broadway musicals, ranging from Showboat to Gershwin to most of the Rogers and Hammerstein hits. He was a noted composer in his own right. One of his greatest individual achievements was the suite of old American dances, which, hey, there's an idea for a future concert. Many of the episodes of Victory at Sea had little or even no narration, allowing the music and the pictures to tell the story. Tonight we'll hear the Song of the High Seas, then a little peaceful pre-war interlude, followed by a hint of foreboding, And then a lovely section, again focusing on what was going on where everyone thought it was far behind the dangers of war, like Hawaii in 1941. But then we hear that foreboding theme again, which explodes into the horror of Pearl Harbor and the U-boat attacks in the North Atlantic. Then there's the aftermath of those attacks, followed by Hymn of Victory, and ending as we began with the Song of the High Seas. Victory at Sea.
but it's a very special one. We don't do that one very often. We do have a couple traditions here, so if we could have a little bit of house lights, that would be helpful. We'd like to recognize those of you that have decided to wander into this concert for the first time. So if this is, we're going to do it twice. If this is your very first Alway Bilbo, I can't say that anymore, AVB Community Band concert, please stand up so we can recognize you. Give you a nice warm round of applause. First timers, up. Very good. There will be a cleaning of the aisles for you by the end of the program, so talk to me later. We actually have a first timer in the band, in the flute section, Susan Frayne. Please recognize Susan. I said there's going to be a special part to this. If this is your very first time at this wonderful facility out in Bayport, please stand up at the Bayport PAC Performing Arts Center. Please stand. First time here. Wonderful. Yeah, we feel very fortunate that we get to perform in some of the best places in town. Our sister location is at Schwabenon PAC. It's a wonderful facility, very similar to this. And next month, we are at the Widener, so please join us out at the Widener. Mr. Bruce.
Colonel Bogey, well, here we go again with part 2 of my lecture series, so get comfortable again. And thanks to Mark Schrader for his help doing this rather bizarre research. This march by Kenneth Alford is best known by virtue of the 1956 movie Bridge Over the River Kwai, but it actually dates back to 1914 and was a very popular military march for decades, especially in Great Britain. Alford was an officer in the British Army. His real name was Frederick Joseph Ricketts. He used a pen name because the Army frowned upon officers moonlighting. Oh, they almost surely knew what he was up to. Allard's colonel was a golfing fanatic and usually shot bogey, one over par per hole, which in my world is fantastic, but in the serious golfing world, not so much. So, like Victory at Sea, this march tells a story, although a very different story, and supposedly illustrates this officer playing around the golf. Here's the deal. The melody line throughout is Colonel Bogey walking around the course. Maybe he's got his swagger stick, but he's got a mashie instead of the swagger stick. Enjoying the outing, the loud strain is him, da-da-da-da-da. That's him flailing around in a sand trap, wailing away at the ball, and using language not befitting a British officer. The soaring baritone and sax counter melody is the golf ball, sailing up and down in a beautiful parabola as the colonel actually hits and admires a good shot. Is this analysis true? Who knows? It seems to fit, though. In fact, the march is mostly pretty quiet, even stately, to show the calm and quiet of the game as folks like my friends Dave and Jimmy play it, but me not so much. So here's the fun part. When he hits a bad shot, the colonel would whistle what's known in the musical world as a minor third. Carmen will have a lecture on this right after the concert, so stick around. The first 2 notes of the march's melody as opposed to yelling 4. So I assume he had a really loud whistle. Let me demonstrate. Not much warning. This stuck with the composer, and that minor third is the foundation of the march. So here we go with Colonel Bogey's March, as arranged by Frederick Fennell, one of America's great bandmasters. Paul, come on out. Paul. He's getting even with me because I forgot to call him out last time.
didn't hear many of you whistling along with that one. I think you probably could have if you wanted to. You know, we are very, very thankful for many people that are here. Those of you that came, obviously. But we're also very thankful for the donors that help us. This band exists on donations. We don't sell anything. We don't have a business. We run it. And in your program, you're going to find now 2 pages. That's very impressive, of people that have donated to us. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, as well as for those of you who are repeat donors as well. And there are new ways to help this band out too, new ways to donate. We have, obviously, our website that you can go to. We are on Facebook. We do have now QR codes. And something new, Venmo. Venmo is so simple, I even know how to do it, so it's amazing. So if you can keep us in business for another 44 years, that would be awesome. Mr. Bruce.
The wearing of the green. Leroy Anderson is one of our most, that is what it is, right? Oh, good. I thought I heard a no back there. Leroy Anderson is one of our most popular American composers. Think Bugler's Holiday, Sleigh Ride, The Syncopated Clock, and Christmas Festival. The 4th movement of Leroy Anderson's Irish Suite, which was drawn from familiar Irish folk tunes when it was created in 1947 for the Boston Pops, is the wearing of green. A couple of fun facts. Before it was green, the big color in Ireland was blue, and there is even an official color called St. Patrick's Blue. That started to change in the late 1700s when a group led mostly by, and I'm not making this up, middle-class Protestants, and in coordination with some Catholics, they became the United Irish, and they adopted the wearing of the green to represent Irish nationalism and their fight against British imperialism. They had themselves a nice little rebellion in 1798, which failed. But the green struck, and when the big Irish Catholic migration to the United States got going in the 1840s, green came along with them, and so it's been green ever since. So here we go. I feel a little self-conscious. I'm ready.
That was fun. It's one of those fun pieces. Which reminds me, where do snowmen keep their money? In the snowbank, of course. And my first chair flute was on that one. What's the most musical part of the turkey coming up for Thanksgiving, right? The drumstick. You guys have heard these before, haven't you? Why did the banana go to the doctor? Because it wasn't peeling well. I know. You know, I'm a dad. I am entitled to those things. So coming up next is our last tune in the first half. We're going to have a 15-minute intermission after that. So you have to get to know your neighbor, introduce yourself, and make a friend. Bring them along next time when we are at the winery. Mr. Bruce.
A little advance notice, we won't be doing this at intermission, but we will be, after the show, we will be selling chicken dinners, tickets for our big band show on February 15th at the Riverside Ballroom. They'll be on sale in the lobby after the show. Freedom. M.W. Smith is a contemporary and Christian composer and pianist who's won 3 Grammys and many Christian music awards. He has performed with stars such as Martina McBride and Amy Grant, and also sang at President George H.W. Bush's state funeral at the National Cathedral. Freedom is the title song of his 15th album of the same name, which came out in 2000. This piece really captures the spirits of both freedom and unity, which, contrary to what some may think, are not mutually exclusive. This is Jay Bocock's band arrangement, and we hope you enjoy it. Texador. He named it after one of his piano students, the then 12-year-old Amparita Roca. And it was first performed in 1925. It's a paso doble and is one of the better-known pieces of Spanish music around the world. Now, it's a paso doble, so does anybody know if this has been ever featured on Dancing with the Stars? I bet it has.
Must have been one heck of a piano student, if you were listening. All right, one of the other things that I always like to find out, so a little bit of house lights would be nice here. Did we have any groups that came down today? So if you are here with a group, if you're with a Rotary, if you're with the Kiwanis, if you're with a church group, or a bowling team, why don't you stand up and be recognized? All right, any groups here tonight? Off the seats. You all came by yourself. Oh.
All right,
the MVets. Give the MVets a nice round. Thank you. One of these days, we're going to have a lot of groups here. You know, it's a cheap date. You can go out and you can get a group together. Speaking of cheap dates, Tomorrow, do you guys like hamburgers? Yeah, you like Red Robin? Yeah, you can help us out, because tomorrow, if you look into your program, you're gonna find a little advertisement in there. The Red Robin on Oneida, I think it's the only one in town, actually. Will donate 20% of proceeds to the band. So if you can make your way to Red Robin, I'll see you there around noon if you're gonna go tomorrow, because I'll be there over the noon hour. So, Mr. Bruce.
Thanks, Mike. Florentiner March. Although most audiences remember Julius Fusick, be careful when you pronounce his name, for his entry of the Gladiators March, a recent international popularity poll, apparently these pollsters have nothing else to do, indicate a preference for his Florentiner March, another of the really kind of stately marches we're featuring tonight. While it's written in the style of a grand Italian march, Fusick was actually Bohemian, or Czech, and simply followed the style of the time by composing tunes about exotic places far from his home. It opens with a short bugle fanfare and proceeds directly into a strain of repeated notes, which, according to, I don't know, people write about these things. They have nothing else to do. It seems to picture a flighty Florentine signorina chattering to her gentleman friend from Berlin, who is only given enough time to answer a two-note, you'll hear it, jawohl occasionally. It's sometimes described as a one-piece instrumental operetta following the romance of the signorina and her beau. This is another arrangement by Frederick Fennell. Get my steps in today.
Wasn't that a different kind of a march? Yeah, I liked it. That's why I chose it. It's a good thing I was the director. So that reminds me, I was up here for intermission. I got some people that told me some pretty bad jokes. But I have my own bad jokes. All right, so what has one head, 1 foot, and 4 legs? A bed. A bed, yes, no. When does Friday come before Thursday? In the dictionary. Come on. Pay attention. I will do this to make sure you're not falling asleep. And what did the judge say to the skunk when he walked into the courtroom? Odor in the court. Oh, come on. Those are pretty good dad jokes. No, in all seriousness, take these things, this program home. It's got some great information in here, and support our advertisers that are in there because they really would love to have you as one of their customers. So, Mr. Bruce.
The Russian Sailors Dance from the Red Poppy. This is the most famous piece from the 1920 revolutionary Russian opera, The Red Poppy. The basic plot is that ships and crews from all over the world are in a Chinese port, and the heroic Soviet captain tries to save the Chinese dock workers from the cruel harbor master. Along the way, dancing sailors from around the world take their turn on the stage, and of course the big number is when the Russian sailors take their turn. Think about the dance scenes and Fiddler on the Roof, and you'll pretty much be where you need to be.
we getting some of that international flavor with our music tonight? It does unite us, doesn't it? That's the cool part about it. We have another tradition that I have started 24 years ago, I guess, and that is birthdays. So Connor's going to help me out with this one, Mr. Connor. The birthday hat is here. Thank you, sir. If you have a birthday in the month of November, you need to stand up right now as required, because we will sing loudly and vociferously, in tune and beautifully, happy birthday. Ted in our percussion section had a birthday yesterday, so this is Ted's hat for tonight. There we go. Loudly. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Way in the back. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to you. You didn't stand up and you didn't stand up. Happy birthday anyway.
Forgotten Heroes is a chorale-style piece by Chicago composer Jeremy Bell. It features our brass section as we pay tribute to all of those men and women who have served to help make this nation great. Forgotten Heroes is a musical memorial for those who never saw fame or glory, but kept trying to make the world a better place. Folks like healthcare workers, grocery workers, bus drivers. You know who you are. And please, please welcome Paul back to the podium.
thanks very much for coming tonight. It's such a privilege to play music of any sort, but with a band of this caliber and an audience of this size and appreciation, it's a real pleasure for all of us. So thanks so much for coming out.
Rookies. You know, the funny thing is nobody probably would have noticed that I didn't have a baton, so. Anyway, have you had a good time tonight? Awesome. That's what it's all about. You know, we haven't charged for these concerts forever, and we're still here 44 years later, thanks to the generosity of folks like you. On the way out, you can support us as well. We have some buckets. We do take cash. Although I saw a sign in Quick Trip the other day, they don't take pennies anymore. Whatever, I don't know, the world. So thank you for coming to Bayport and helping us. You are awesome people. Share with your friends. By the way, if you want to share this concert or any of the other concerts we do, we are actually on YouTube. So type in AVB Community Band and it'll come up and you can listen to tonight. It's going to be maybe a week before that's posted, but you can listen to other concerts. So I'll send it to your friends, the ones you're going to bring along next week, along with the bowling team. Right? Okay, I'm looking at you. I know you're a bowler. Okay? Pay attention. All right, so we have a couple closing comments because after this next piece, we're going to go right into the retiring of the colors, and we're going to just kind of reverse what we did before. But we do end with our traditional God Bless America, so please join us when we get to that spot. I'm going to thank the Hanson Family Funeral Foundation, Cremation Services. Give them a nice round of applause for sponsoring the concert. We believe they have been sponsoring us now for 20 years. So thank you very much. I'm going to explain next month a little bit. We are at the Widener. We love to go to the Widener. So do a lot of other groups that like to go to the Widener. So we are on a Thursday night in December. It's Thursday, December 11th. So make sure that you come on Thursday, not Monday. You can go Monday too if you want, but we won't be there. But really, Widener just gets filled up at Christmas. Last year we kind of got bumped out by some group called Cirque du Soleil or something like that. I've never heard of before. So we certainly appreciate that we're back at the Widener. Please join us. Family friendly. The jolly old elf, not that one, will be here along with all sorts of goodies. The cousin? I heard you're on the naughty list this year, Robert.
I hope so. I worked hard at that.
So a special thanks to the crew and staff out here, Brittany and her entourage of helpers, Connor and the whole crew. Give them a nice round of applause. And of course, a lot of the stuff you see here, the programs, the advertising, all that good stuff, we have some thanks there. So we have Nancy Bartle, Jean Burmeister, Dick Nocenti and the library crew, Brett Husson, who is our band president and manager, and then of course Paul Alexi, which you've seen a lot, and then there's Bruce. Yeah. Give them all a nice round of applause. It's all you.
Thank you. I'll remind you of the fundraiser at Red Robin tomorrow from 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. Simply mention that you're there to support AVB, and the band will receive 20% of the food sales. And at the Widener Center on the 11th, please remember to bring a non-perishable item for Paul's Pantry. And remember that because of the construction of the new library, there is no valet parking. So sorry about that, but they're doing a great job out there. I was there last night for my grandson's orchestra concert. So, as is our custom, we have our salute to the Armed Forces, Pride of America. We're performing all of the Armed Forces service anthems. If you or a member of your family is or has been a member of the Armed Forces, please stand when your anthem is played. Between each anthem, there are short interludes a la Sousa. To date, there doesn't appear to be a salute which includes the United States Space Force anthem, which does exist. It's called Semper Supa, Always Above. And please join in singing the Star Spangled Banner. Thank you.
I will cue you when we get to that spot, but you'll know. You've heard it once or twice.
United States Army!